Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming on board. Alfred and I are excited about doing the call. And this isn't my Zoom call. It's not Alfred's Zoom call. This is each one of you's Zoom call. We've just taken the responsibility. It's our shares. And so we decided to, scour the internet and collect all the information that we can out there, talk to our fellow investors that we brought in, the investors that have been in the
hey, you guys want to mute your phones, you guys, when you get on the call, just mute your phones, because we don't need the background noise.
Sorry about that,
okay,
gentlemen.
How many are on the call now?
We're here on our own time. We're not getting paid by anybody. We just want to protect our interests. I mean, I believe in the company. I believe in the technology. I believe in our leadership. I believed in it for many, many years.
Right.
And Alfred has shown that he's out there. He's been on YouTube. He has a very strong presence on Twitter, and he's been able to get information out to everybody on this call. And there's literally thousands of other people that aren't on this call that really have been depending upon information that we're bringing together. So I thank everybody for taking the time to come on board.
Okay, guys. Yeah, the first thing we're going to talk about is that the deal that was just released today at market close, that MaxSound signs landmark agreement with Formula 4 Protocol, and deal that calls the new paradigm shattering for HD audio branded content that includes national, retail, and then international distribution in major retail. So what's going on, you guys, is that they just announced it. That deal is going to be another 6-figure licensing deal, where MaxSound gets 6 figures up front, and then a licensing deal in the back end. They're talking about going into major retail chains in the United States and kiosk type release of this Formula 4 Protocol stuff. And people are really excited about it. It's got tens of thousands of users, and we're talking about retail chain expansion and licensing. So it's a really good deal. We'll let you guys read about that, because a lot of you will, maybe some of you already heard about that or found it and stuff. But so we're going to expect the stock to pop again tomorrow. There's a lot of rumors, going around. I mean, their 10Q, MaxSound's 10Q is due March 30th. There's rumors going around that that's going to be released this week. And what's going to be on it? Well, we're talking, revenue, we're talking cash on hand, and we're talking, booked revenue. So that's going to be really good. And there probably won't be anything from the Snapdragon release yet, because that revenue hasn't been booked, or probably hasn't been booked yet. I don't think they've I think the chips are being shipped, but that's what's going on now. And also, we did a little bit of video talking about no executable debt. I mean, the debt, was converted into shares, and that's held by 2 people who are insiders in the company, and they're not interested in getting rid of that. Obviously, they're not going to dump the company for that. And then you're also looking at the total debt that was converted to be well under 10 million, I think under $5 million. So the company, with this sort of development, with these sort of patents and everything, that's a very low cost. Chris, what do you got?
And to add on that, there's a lot of different types of investors on this call. There's some that that enjoy buying and selling and going back and forth. There are some of you that are saying there's no way in the world that I'm going to sell the stock until it gets to 25 cents or $1. And that's the way we look at it. We've been in this for some time, and we're holders. We know that there's a lot that's coming down the pipeline for us to enjoy, and financially, looking forward to that. But the types of investors, I wanted to make this clear and tie into what you just said, is that a lot of the investors that have been in this, that are in their 70s, in their 80s, they've gotten burnt back in the day, because they didn't do their due diligence. And it comes down to whether or not there's any debt and where does it stand, because they've invested in companies, and then all of a sudden there's somebody that comes in and sells off everything, and then there goes their investment. with what Alfred just said is powerful, because there's only two people that have that debt, and nobody else is going to be able to come in and take that away. And, just correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Mr. Halpern owns 66.67% of the company. And that's powerful right there. There's nobody coming in that's going to be able to dictate how things are going to be run.
No hostile takeover, nothing like that. Yeah.
Nothing.
So with the
Nothing like
stock's been up a lot since January, right?
Absolutely. I mean, since January, it's been it's up 8,000%. We like today we saw a low. It went. I think it was closed at like maybe 16%. We've had it up 69%, but that's that gradual increase. There's a lot of little plays in between. But if you were to look from January till today, we still have that upward, very steady projection. And that's what's healthy for the company. We don't want these spikes and then all of a sudden these sell-offs. And it's not good for the company. This is something that with the shareholder investor email that came out through Mr. Halpern, he very clearly stated that there were going to be press releases, there's deals in the pipeline, and just sit back, relax, and see what's coming. And there has been a lull. There's been a lull in what's been happening over the last couple of years. Go ahead, Al.
And also, on the maxd.audio website, they're talking about re-releasing the HD audio app. Now that app, had 1 million downloads. They've pulled it and they're redoing it. Expect that to be released soon, and expect that to be on a paid subscription basis. So if people want it, they're going to have to pay for it.
This is the type of gentleman that Greg is. He's just a go-getter. He's a fighter. He believes in the small business, owner, and he's fighting for us and our equity. And that's what he's doing here with Max Sound. Is he's making a very tactical, methodical approach to keeping us in the game and growing our investment. That's who Greg is. He's just a fantastic. He's got a big heart. He loves everybody. He's passionate, and we've got a fearless leader.
Greg hasn't taken a salary for the last 4 years, and we have kind of a perfect storm brewing now where, a lot of these disputes that we had, there's some disputes regarding the sound patent and whatnot, all that stuff's being resolved. And he's now focused on making deals and, closing deals. So, there's kind of a storm here brewing where we're going to see a lot of stuff coming in, which is going to be really good news. And if we want to talk to Bill a little bit, Bill, do you want to talk a little bit about the European resolve?
Okay, you're talking about BTX?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, Bill.
Thank you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
In there, fellas. Listen, here's what I know, and I'm currently on the patent tree registrar for Europe. What I read last week was that Rouhani, who I have been on this board with since 15, and he's been pretty accurate. And he wrote, and I was taken from that, Alfred, that the patent was reassigned or in the process of being reassigned from VSL to VLL. Now, I don't see any evidence of that online at the moment. It's not been recorded, but we do know that VLL owns the patent. And I'm sure if Greg is on this this call, or John Blazer, just real quick, that if this comes to fruition that the patent has been reassigned to VLL from VSL, that's not going to be good for Google, because all the downstream companies have to license. Now, who takes responsibility of that? So I'm on the European Patent Registrar now. I don't see anything current, but that doesn't mean it is not being processed.
Yeah, you guys, you got to think and remember the fact that after a judgment is rendered, the downstream companies, you don't need to sue them. You just attach them to the judgment, and then you start taking bricks out of them. So you don't need to sue them. You just attach them to the judgment and then go after them. So after we get a judgment, whenever it is, we're setting a trial date this year. Trial will likely take place next year. After you get a judgment, you're taking bricks out of these companies for decades, and you just keep going down. There's no statute of limitations because judgments can be renewed after 10 years. We've been doing this
Alfred,
for
can I
decades.
can I just add one
Yeah.
quick point? I think the
Yeah.
RICO complaint that
Oh, I
Craig
love you.
I
Get up,
filed
okay? Get up.
is I
Yeah,
think okay, I think the RICO complaint
We need to
is
do
huge because it's going to bring Google to the table. They do not
Yep.
want their business practices out there because it allows for other people that they've wronged to utilize what they've learned from this. Plus, in fact, when we go sideways over to the infringement complaint, which is new now again, they can't steal the records because we're part of both. That's all I have to say on that.
Cool. All right, and Chris, you guys, and also some, discovery activity does not show up on the register of action, the lawsuit. So things like deposition requests, discovery requests going back and forth, that does not show up on the register of actions. Right now, they're in discovery and that stuff is ongoing. Only discovery disputes end up on the register of actions. So, so all this stuff is ongoing. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in a lawsuit that you don't see, that doesn't appear on the courtroom website. So that aside, you guys, right now, Max Sound has 100% buy for short-term, medium-term, and long-term holders on bar chart. So we're the chart is just really well, and it's really good. And, there's a lot of excitement regarding this stuff. And Chris, do you want to take a little bit more here about how people can help
what
here?
we ought to do is introduce our main guest of the evening.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
All right. Well, a surprise visit. We put an email out to Max Sound, and we were fortunate to have Mr. Halpern reply. And so, Greg, if you would go ahead and unmute yourself and blow us away, bro.
How you guys doing?
You're doing great.
Good.
Good, man. Good.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Great.
So, yeah, there's some real good things going on. I don't know if anybody saw the release today. I had a couple people say, well, gee, people are out there on the board giving you crap for owning that venture. I said, I don't own the venture. I said, first of all, I haven't made net profit on it. Second of all, there are people using the product like crazy. It's been used now for the last 2 test markets. 62,000 people are, leveling up and evolving, saying things like, it's the best thing you'll ever get in your life. I mean, I don't know where you can get an endorsement like that, but when a customer has an endorsement and when they started to talk, I began to cry because all my happiness came back. Or, people are curing opioid addiction and they're getting features that now are tying together with government programs. I mean, there's a lot of very gratifying things that are happening, but what I point out to people is, I try to come up with a strategy for the board or the boards, whether it's Yahoo or any of these boards. In the past, they've been pretty much a cesspool for, there's 265 known paid bashers. That I took down that organization in 2005 with the Patrick Byrne. If you're seeing a lot about Patrick Byrne lately, he spent 10 million of his own money. He was showing up next to Sidney Powell in the whole thing with the election and the voting machines. And he spent 10 million of his own money since September. He was trying to walk it into the White House. All the evidence they used on the fraud of the voting machines was his evidence. And they introduced him as Patrick Byrne, a billionaire, former CEO of Overstock. What they don't say is that he became a billionaire not from Overstock because he had 25 million shares issued and outstanding in his company, or 26, but yet he was 100 million shares short for about 3 years. Drove him batty. So he sounded a little bit anxious and people were worried that he wasn't sane, but I know otherwise. Just very highly intelligent. His father sold a little company after he joined my cause. I was the cover story of Forbes. And I took down with him a whole bunch of different mafia gangs and people that had a warehouse in Omaha with 265 paid bloggers. They were just basically paid 60 or 70 grand to bash companies, bash little companies. And what he didn't say was Dad sold a little company you probably heard of called Geico and put $1 billion in his pocket. That's where that money came from. And his dad was getting old. He waged war with us against these guys. And we took down all these hedge funds, 38 in all, either went out of business, went to jail, hung themselves, disappeared, or I don't know what happened after that. And the good news is that, we got a law passed 2005 called Reg Show, which a lot of people don't really understand. I'm going to be talking more about it. I was on the back end of GameStop. So when you saw GameStop action, what you saw was at the end of it, about 17 trading firms became part of the little guy, the little, middle America, the little guy. And those guys, those traders became the war against the man. And the man is, we'll just say for this purpose, well, they know who they are. I call them out all the time. It's Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. They own the SEC and FINRA. When I say they own it, it's not deep state. If you've heard the term, it's deep capture. There's been articles written about it for a long time. My lawyer was at the forefront of it. You could look up John O'Quinn. He won $38 billion against the tobacco industry in the 90s. His firm still will collect, I think, $35 million a year for the next, for like 2053 or something. As a result of that, hey, look at the little baby. So the good news about all that is we waged this war. We thought we had them. We had, I pretty much had Knight and Citadel out of business, two of the market makers that caused a lot of problems. And they then kind of came back like the bubonic plague. And that's the same thing that happened here. Only this time when I was on the back end of the GameStop program, it was basically bait. I wanted to see how that's going to play out. And what I learned pretty quickly is that after their hedge fund was going to bite the dust for his not being able to meet his capital reserve from all the naked short selling. If you understand the naked short selling, great. If you don't, we'll put out a big bulletin. I've written up a lot of stuff on this. I helped shape the law that's called Reg Show. They're supposed to stop it, but the SEC refused to enforce it. I'll put out a report now of the actual number. We've been shorted naked 3.6 billion shares in the last 22 trading days. So going back 1 month, you can go to OTC report, or no, it's OTCshortreport.com. And there you'll see the 22-day or 1 month trailing short sales. And when we say short sales, the naked short position is they manufacture a counterfeit share. People say, how can they do that? Well, it's really easy. They're at the level 3 screen. They have their trader. The trader is the reconciler of it. He's the board member of the depository trust company. And the depository trust company is where all shares reside one way or another, either through a book or a street name on Seedco and through so-called record keeping. All of the naked short sales are essentially counterfeit shares, and these bad actors have determined with themselves, they've agreed with themselves that they can short, according to their own internal policy, up to 2,000 shares per share. So the idea is if you drive a little company out of business, then there's no crime, supposedly. You don't see the crime, right? Because there's no shares to cover. There's no shares to buy back in because the company's out of business. So shares don't trade and the shares don't matter because there isn't any shares and they're not registered and they just evaporate. So that's the problem with these companies going out of business. Now there's still 406 companies that are like me, meaning they found a way to survive. I didn't really find a way to survive. I didn't have to find a way. It just survival's in my nature. I can't not survive. So I have to fight until the end. Whatever the end is, I have to be the last guy standing. That's just how I was taught to fight. So, but the other people, they just have their business has gone well, or they figured out how to carry on. And in doing so, out of about 10,000 companies that were destroyed with that process, there's still 406 left. I aim to gather them, round them all up. I used GameStop to flush out and see what would happen. Here's what we learned. We learned that they still can make it a stock, meaning they just make up a share. Okay, so they sell you you buy a legitimate share, it's in your account, but there's no share behind it. There's not a share, there's no CUSIP, there's no registration number, there's no piece of paper, there's no nothing. It's just an entry at the guy who terminates all of the share offerings. So the depository trust company, about a year and a half ago, the key person there that I know left and showed up at my place in California and said, I have a couple files for you. Great. Sure. Wonderful. And they said, here it is. These are the 2 files. the one that I was most interested in, because we were a little confused about the second one, is $100 trillion of stolen money through naked shorting since 28 years ago. Now, I've been doing this for 40 years, but the digital market really has been around for 28 years. And in 28 years, every bad market that there's been, every single downturn, even 2008, the so-called, real estate crash was not a real estate crash. It was a naked shorting crash. The 2000 bubble burst of the internet was not real. It hit a height, and instead of them letting it continue to hit new heights, they just said, okay, it's stalling for 3 months in 2000, so let's just short it now. So they short it down to nothing, knowing exactly that this was their big proof of concept. They'd already done it several times, but that's where they were really going to reel it in. But now there's a theory that they're going to let every stock go up as high as it can go, and then when it stalls at the end of the year or next year, they're going to sell it down again. Every company this time, not just the little guys. They'll sell everything down, suck all that value out, and then destroy all the companies and say, look, we knew this market was too high and it couldn't hold itself up. I mean, what holds a market up? I mean, is it because they're overvalued, undervalued? No. There's only one thing that holds any market up for any product in the history of capitalism, and that's supply and demand. That's it, really. Beginning of story, end of story. So you keep your eyes on the prize. The eyes, in this case, is why are you a shareholder? Well, I know I'm a shareholder. I mean, I want to make money. That's just the bottom line. So I keep my eyes on the prize. As far as Formula 4, that's been called by top thought leaders in the world like my gift to humanity. And I received it for 3 days after inhaling chlorine gas and closing my trachea for 3 minutes. And that 3 days of transmissions has been considered, something really great, gift to humanity. So I put that out there because it's making money now, starting to make some money, not for me, but it's making money for the people running it. And I don't run it and I don't own it. I'm the royalty guy. Maybe I'll get some royalties if it does well, hopefully. But that's not really relevant. What's relevant is we're going to make it, we're remaking the collection, which is probably one of the finest collections of, like health multimedia product in the history of the known universe. And it's going to put it in high definition Max D and give us a royalty from the sale. And the sale will be a kiosk. It'll basically be a visual thing, a kiosk, and you scan it in a CVS store or wherever in that new health aisle that's really long now and is adding a lot of products. A friend of mine that has been investing in the company told me he has the product called NeuroGum. I said, that's a nootropic gum, right? So yeah, there's the bottom line. Okay, so here's what's going on. There's a couple of pointers that I hope people will get. One of the reasons I wanted to stop on the call and just say the difference of our boards now, all our message boards, is I ask people, do you see it's very positive compared to what you've seen in the past? Yes, I see that. I said, I've just asked people, like all the releases I'm putting out, I'm giving you my best literature work based on fact. So everything that's out there is already the known universe of stuff. And if you look at each thing operates an opening for a topic. If you happen to be on those boards, I'm not really interested in being on the boards, battling with people. Somebody called me and said, hey, have you seen what they said on the board? I'm like, if I was watching it, I expect you to call me as a courtesy and demand that I call for my own resignation. Because it means I'm not focused on the business. Management should not be on that, but I leave it to you guys or friends of yours. And there's a few people that are, like to be on there, but if you have 100 people on there, then their 5 paid bashers can never get traction. And that's really what you're getting. And I said, don't engage in anything but, okay. So bottom line is, when you're on those boards, if you see something positive, just, jump in like, hey, my cousin's, over there in South America, and he's interested in, electric cars. We have a guy in Africa, and he's actually put in for a license, and you might have heard of him, Hendy Motors. Really super, super nice guy. I gave him the Formula 4. He said it was like the coolest thing he ever saw. And he's looking in a month or two or a few weeks, whenever he gets his money together, to do a license for the Max D audio, because he can't get a license for Apple, but he can for Max D on his electric car business in Zimbabwe. If you see anything you like on the chat boards, it really is beneficial to join an intelligent conversation, because what these clowns hate is they hate it when you don't pay attention to their just BS lies. They just throw out darts. Like, here's a dart. Like, what I would do is, if I was on any board, I would annihilate them in 2 seconds. I would just say, hey, listen, Mr. Paid Basher, obviously you're cutting a paycheck for this, and we just stopped listening to you. So good luck. Like, and obviously only somebody that's a complete loser would be doing that. So, we're not really interested. We want to talk about the business. So if you see things you like, then that's an opportunity to network. That's how this, how Alfred started talking to this guy from Hendon Motors. And so it's out there. Also, I don't have a Reg FD issue, a fair disclosure, full disclosure issue. It's out there that he's already looking at a license and we're negotiating the license. So once we put that out, it won't even be news. That's very beneficial to the regulatory process. I've been doing this 40 years. I've been on the side of helping change rules at the SEC. And even Michael Oxley of Sarbanes-Oxley hailed my congressional testimony, and President Trump put 2 of my recommended offices in place when he took office, like 17 and 19 years later. So there is some things that we can do that's good on that score. On the other score, you can network for the business. I would encourage everybody to say, look, you like the business, or if you like certain aspects of it, you could say, like, if you know somebody in the business, a business of health, electronics, we're going in all different directions. So we have a company that wants to put our name MaxD, they like the name MaxD, on a cleaning product. So we'll probably do it. If they brand us the right way and we like it, we'll probably do that. We get money for that. Anywhere where we're going to get money. So there's a lot of talk about the lawsuits. Okay. I've been doing these lawsuits for a long time because, once I got on it, I'm just not going to get off until it's done. And that may take, we don't know how it's take, the judicial system is very corrupt. We should have won all these cases already. And as far as the patents and stuff, just so everybody knows, the VLL got the assignment back in 2015, and I helped them reassign it in California so there could be more lawsuits here. And so all that stuff is in motion, but we don't know how long it's going to take because the judicial system completely corrupted. The whole political system's a big mess. Now, within that, we're creating opportunity as well. So there's a third mobile operating system that's going to become real popular, and we're going to be at the forefront of it. And we're actually bringing it to market with our own server farms and our own satellites. So, and we have the full support of the military at every level. The 3 million people in the armed services and 28 million veterans and the special ops. I do a lot with the special ops here in town. And so there's just mega opportunities. I need double the amount of days in a week to get all these deals done because they're coming at me real fast. And every one of them has a cash component upfront, long-term year over year, and then equally as important for the long-term as revenue share. So we're hitting at a lot of angles, and everywhere where there's going to be the need for audio, including biometric audio security, another one of our patents, we look for amazing things because fintech now, they've got fingerprint, they've got eye facial recognition. What they don't have is good voice, and we have good voice. I can hack the 2 voice products that are already out there, and we have tremendous security that's already done it. So there's a lot of really good things to do with MaxD audio. Also, I mentioned that in the release, I've been mentioning it more and more, that Qualcomm's doing work. I can't speak to what chips they're going to be. We're aligned on 600, and we were going on 700 with the lockdown during the scamdemic. We couldn't do the 700 development in India. So we are finishing it on the 800 through the TIP Solutions deal. TIP is actually built onto the 800 and they're adding us on their back. So that's coming. That could be all kinds of good deals. They're looking at a lot of really good big mobile deals that we would camp onto. We're just basically given to it, and then they can parse out the pieces and create their own royalty structures. So we offer infinite flexibility for these guys to do all those great things. Okay, that's in short that, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I feel a lot of calls, but I'm very abrupt. You can do it early, late, morning, night, weekend. Anybody that knows me knows that I do that too. So I'm almost never asleep because I'm highly, highly motivated. So there you go. Hope that was helpful. The main things is eyes on the prize, positive things on the chat board only. That just drowns them out, drowns the bad guys out. And, thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your enthusiasm. I get nothing but great things. People know I like to answer the door when the guy's there with the missile launcher. So, that's me.
Yeah. Greg, real quick,
Greg.
where do you get your baseball
Great
caps
stuff.
and vests?
I got a guy here in town. I'm always branding crap, but if you want any of this stuff, let me know. I mean, I probably should make a bunch of it and, throw it out there, but yeah, I like this stuff. I do most of my own design work. Look at the Formula 4 design. I did the design, of course, the content I received, and hopefully I will get a royalty for it. But it's just great content. I tell everybody that has any problems at all, health, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, wants to be happier, wants to make more money, whatever. It's all in there, and they can get free startup programs and stuff too. So check it out. It's going to be a big boost.
Great
People are gonna
stuff,
love it.
Greg. Thank you.
Absolutely, Greg. Thank you so much. Thank you for stopping
Greg,
in.
thanks
and
for being on the call.
Absolutely.
Pleasure. Love
Well-
to all you guys, you know, the Max D Army. Go
The Max
guys.
D Army, absolutely.
And ladies too, ladies too.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Great. All right, Greg, thank you for your time. We
Thank
know
you,
you're
Alfred.
busy. Yeah,
Yes,
we know
sir,
you're
Bill.
busy, and thanks for your time, man.
Thanks,
Yep.
everyone. Thanks
You
for
great.
showing up.
Okay, you guys, we got a couple other issues that we're going to talk about as well, and then we're going to do a Q&A session. So, great information from Greg right there. You guys, you know, really glad he stopped by to talk to us and, you know, give us a perspective on what's coming up. You guys, a lot of things are obviously coming up. You just heard it. You know, there's deals closing and stuff. Short term, long term, medium term. This is a buy. You know, you buy it. You know, I've bought this stock at many levels, and you know, I'm still going to be buying it. You know, I'm going to be buying it tomorrow. I'm going to be buying it next week. You know, get in whenever you can, but because it's going to be going up, right? And you guys heard him also. You know, turning these boards, you know, these Reddit and these stock twits and these other boards to positive is really important. So we need you guys to join Reddit, join stock twits, join the Yahoo Finance, and just start making positive posts about it. And that's going to help drive, you know, the discussion up, increase the shareholder base, which is really important. And that will then, you know, then the people that are shorting the stock will stop shorting it. So this week we're looking at, you know, we have an announcement already. It was announced at market close. The stock is going to go north tomorrow without a doubt. So we already checked the boards and stuff. There's millions of pre-order shares right now after market close. So the stock is going to be going up tomorrow without a doubt.
Yeah.
And
I just want to
and
just make it very clear that just share. Take the time, like as many, you know, posts that are out there, whether it be stock twits, whether it be Reddit, whether it be, I mean, everybody should be on Facebook, on the Max Sound investment community. Join as many communities as you can. We're you know, this literally is an army, and we're recruiting all of you right here now that, you know what, let's take this to the moon. And if we each take that step in supporting one another and liking one another's posts and creating posts, like there's a Max D Army Telegram page now, so you can go and sign up for it.
Max D Army also on Reddit.
Yep. Do the hashtag Max D Army as much as we can. That would be fantastic. And
you guys
I have to apologize. We'll have this dialed in better. Apologize for the little.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah,
we're gonna find a new you know, kind of forum for this, and the next call we do will be kind of the same thing. There's going to be new information, stuff that's not out there that you don't know, and also going to be, you know, talking about the latest and kind of shareholder value, everything.
Yep.
And also when you guys are, you know, joining Reddit and whatnot, you know, make sure that, you know, the stuff that you talk about is positive, because there's a lot of positive news here. We have a lot of good developments coming, and you know, you just heard it from him. You guys, we got new announcements. You know, I'm bringing the Hene Moto into the Philippines, so it was you know, this was a bit premature for me to talk about that, but Greg talked about it. They're getting a license. You guys are going to see it. You're going to see letter of intent, and then you're going to see the deal complete in the next couple of months. So, you know, whatever, you know, and the thing is, when you guys talk about, you know, Max Sound and it gets out there, when the stock goes up, guess what happens? Your credibility goes up. So when you talk about it and you know the you know, the stuff is coming, excuse me, then you will talk about it, and you know, your credibility will go up because, hey, it's one of those things. I told you so. There it is. So, anybody got anything else there? Oh, you know, here, you know, let's open it up to question and answers. So you guys have questions?
Let's keep
Sorry,
it,
guys.
keep it very distinct. Succinct.
Yeah. Questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm a fairly new investor. I bought about 500,000 shares, and I bought it when it was just before it started raising pretty good. But I've got a couple of concerns I wanted to ask questions about. Number one is they keep introducing Greg Halpern as the CEO, but online it's saying that John Blazier is the CEO.
John Blazier was the CEO as of up to 6 months ago. Then he was removed, and Greg Halpern is now the CEO.
Okay, because that's still on Max D's website.
Well,
Can
okay,
I
their
jump in on
website.
here?
Okay, yeah,
It's
wait, their
BTX.
website is being updated. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead, BTX.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, can I jump in? I spoke to John this morning. All right, John is still involved, but he retired. Okay. And,
Oh, okay.
all right, so really, that's so much to do about nothing. He knows what's going on. He has very good information, and he's very honest.
What's very important, I've been involved in the company from very early on because Greg is a tremendous man. In my opinion, he's just an absolute genius. I've done very well, but this is just the beginning. It's not even started. Nothing's even started yet. So what I would suggest to everybody, if you're in the company to make money, you'll do very, very well, in my opinion. But what's extraordinarily important is what Greg said, and strategically, what I think everyone needs to take away from this comment, from this phone call today, is go back to the boards on Reddit and StockTwits and whatnot. And if you see a basher, just make sure you take a good note and post it after the bad basher, because as long as and you just keep posting positive reinforcement about the stock and about the company, they're gonna get tired and they're gonna go away. So as long as you reinforce it with something positive and you don't, it's like you ignore them essentially, they're gonna go away and they're gonna find some of the stock to bash.
Yeah, so I mean, basically next month is a hearing date regarding a shit, I forgot about it. Just that's right. It's basically a motion that's limiting the issues that are going to be heard at trial. But what is going to happen this year is that they are going to set a trial date. The trial date will most likely be next year, not this year. And what we will see in the background happening is that there's the depositions of Bren and these other idiots at Google is going to take place in the next, basically, 3 to maybe 9 months. And at that time and especially European deal going through, what's happening in Europe going through, and Europe hates, you guys, the European Union hates fucking Google. They fucking hate them. They want to see Max D succeed in the lawsuit. So that pressure, the depositions of the owners and stuff, the founders of Google, along with all that stuff, that's creating a perfect storm to where real possibility of just all the attachment of the downstream companies that Google owns that have all been infringing this patent. You guys, we're looking at billions of dollars in returns in 2 years. And just, I don't even want to get started on it because I'm extremely bullish about this, but we're looking at a massive return on shareholder value. Sorry, guys. Any other
In a
questions?
minute, we need to end the call.
Right, just
Okay.
wanna
Thanks,
add something on Formula 4 protocol, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Make it quick because it's going to shut off here in less than a minute.
All right, so anyway, on Formula 4 protocol, the idea is that the format it is very good, especially in COVID and the new progression of educational systems. If you look at it, that's how students learn. It's a very well laid out and it's high definition, which has been uncrunched from the crunched format of the Max D protocol, and the sound itself also is uncrunched. So that is also the technology that can be applied if you look at Zoom technology and even developing further into another competitor for Zoom technology with better security and better sound and an ability to deliver high quality video conferencing. Yep. So there is a lot of potential with Max D in terms of actually upscaling the products that we have in this company. So people should look at the marketing potential.
Yeah, thank you, Andy.
Formula 4 protocol.
Thank
High
you, Andy.
definition sound,
Yeah, you guys.
video.
Um,
Can you
That's
give me
it.
my phone
That's
charger, please,
Divine
buddy?
Maffa. You guys, that's Divine Maffa with Moto. You guys, a great opportunity for investment also. If you guys aren't familiar, you know, Moto is being sold in the United States, is being sold in Zimbabwe, all over Africa. It's going to be sold in the Philippines soon. Another great opportunity there.